All right, welcome. Whoo, that's loud. Thanks. All right, so my name is Sidney Andrews. I'm an Azure MVP, but I come from a deep XAML background, WPF, Silverlight, embedded, touchscreen devices, whatever, but there's one thing I can't do. I can't solder. So whenever I saw all these demonstrations about IoT this and IoT that, I can't solder. I really don't understand electrical wiring diagrams, so I was just completely lost in the sauce. And so one day I went to build, and they introduced Windows 10 IoT. And Windows 10 IoT was a way for somebody like me to get started building apps for devices in a super simple way, super quick, using programming languages, programming frameworks that I already know. So right here, to help me out today, is my speaker timer app running on a Raspberry Pi 2. This is just an Anchor USB power battery. This is a blink light. Anybody ever heard of blink light before? Blink light is a little thing you plug into your computer, and it tells you what your link status is. And so I just put it into my laptop, used a USB inspector, figured out what it was sending across the USB wire, wrote some drivers for it, put it on GitHub, and now I can light up the blink light. So this is going to tell me when it's time for me to be quiet. So I got about 19 minutes left, and I want to get started by really talking to you about how you can get started today using Raspberry Pi as my example, but a wide variety of boards to build your own Windows 10 IoT applications. One cool thing we're doing right now is that my slide deck, well, it's not a slide deck, it's a JPEG image. This is a UWP application with only one element, an image element, running off this, what is this? Raspberry Pi 3. So just run off this Raspberry Pi 3. Ta-da. Let's see. Ta-da. So yeah, this is my deck. You know, I've replaced PowerPoint. Round of applause. Anybody? All right. Woo! Yesterday I said I invented PowerPoint, but I got in trouble for that. So I've replaced it now. There we go. All right, so let me show you how we actually do this, how I was able to build something that simple and get it going. So basically, I'm using Visual Studio, using tools I already know, and I download this app called the IoT Dashboard. I go to the Windows Store, and at the Windows Store, I just search for the IoT Dashboard. Search for IoT Dashboard, spin, think. Of course, it's not coming up for me today. I have no luck right now. That's okay. Well, luckily, I already have it installed. And it's a Windows Store app. And this Windows Store app allows me to actually manage my devices. So if I want to add a new device, I go in here and click Set up a new device, plug an SD card in. Usually, in case of Raspberry Pi takes a micro SD as its hard drive. You plug in an SD adapter, plug it to the side of my Surface Book, and it allows me to format and install Windows 10 IoT Core on that SD card. Now, if you want to do the Insider preview, you just have to log in with a Microsoft account that has Windows Insider access, and you'll get the Insider preview version of IoT Core. And that usually has a lot more features. Everything I show you today is going to be based off the Insider build. Once you've done that, you can set up a Wi-Fi connection. So let's say you have a Raspberry Pi 3 and you really don't want to connect to the device manually and try to configure Wi-Fi. You can configure it here and it'll save the Wi-Fi settings to the SD card. And same thing with the password and everything like that. You can connect to Azure, all that. But what I really want to show you is that you see a list of devices. Right now, my Raspberry Pi 3 is not connected to anything. So it actually is emitting its own wireless network. And if I wanted to, I could connect to that network and configure the Raspberry Pi to connect to MSFT Wi-Fi. But for today's demos, I have another Raspberry Pi 2, and I like to use that. So what I have here, you can buy this. I think I got this at Walmart. I got this at Walmart. This is USB 3 hub with Ethernet out. So plug this into my laptop. Ethernet cable. I unplugged something. Ethernet cable. Let's see. Ethernet cable goes in back of my Raspberry Pi. Micro USB cables. You can get these a dime a dozen. The best ones I've ever seen are from Anchor, so they're really solid cables, and I use them for all my projects. So that's a good place if you're not sure where to get some. Raspberry Pi is booting up. Micro SD cable right there. Oh, sorry, I said micro SD. I meant like, is it mini USB or micro USB? I can't tell the difference. I got an iPhone or a Lightning connector. I don't know the difference here. It's the thing I used to charge my Android phone with, right? Plug it into here, boost the Raspberry Pi up. Let's actually see what booting looks like. So I'm going to unplug HDMI cable from my other Raspberry Pi, plug it into the new one. Luckily for me, they're the same resolution because I prepared for my demo. Let's switch on over to number 5. I'm gonna walk on over here and you see my Raspberry Pi is booted. Now this is a Raspberry Pi 2, it's gonna take a little bit longer to boot. But I mean, this is really an operating system running on here and it can run UWP apps. You don't really have to change the apps, do anything special about them to get them on this device. So switching back to Visual Studio, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into Visual Studio, I'm gonna click create a Raspberry Pi's booted. Now switch it back to my laptop. There we go. All right. Whew, I got really nervous right there. All right, so we're back in my Windows machine. I'm gonna create a blank Universal Windows app. Hit OK. You pick your SDK version. I'm just gonna go with the latest Creators Update. Well, it's not the latest, but it's the latest on my machine. That drop-down list is based on whatever SDK is installed on your local machine. I'm gonna let it spin up, create the new Visual Studio project, and once it creates that project, it's just a regular Universal Windows project. So if I wanna go in here in mainpage.xaml and open up the nice little XAML designer. Anybody remember Expression Blend? That was like 3 people. That was the best thing ever. Text block, text, hello world, close it. Now, if I wanna change it so I can see what it might look like on my IoT device, I can switch to an IoT device preview here. Let's fit this to the screen because that's probably microscopic to you. So fit all, there we go. That text is still microscopic. So this is just my normal XAML workflow. Let's do font size 80, horizontal alignment center, vertical alignment center. Yay, hello world. I built the most complicated app in the world. Let's deploy it. So if we wanted to test it on a local machine, it's just like regular UWP app. You hit the debug button, x86, x64 build, any CPU, everybody's happy, everybody does their little dance, the application opens up on your local machine. You notice the deploy started, create a new clean layout, register an application to run from that layout, application boots, and hello world, all right. We want to deploy this to the device. The only thing we need to do is switch from local machine, switch our from x64, x86, or any CPU to ARM build, because Raspberry Pi run on ARM. Now, depending on which boards you choose, that would be different. Some boards actually have x86 builds. Yay for those boards. Once we do ARM, obviously we can't debug on a local machine, so we're going to choose remote machine. Now it's going to ask us to tell it where to debug. So I'm going to go to my IoT Core dashboard. Oh, there's my Raspberry Pi 2. I have an Alpha and a Bravo. Alpha's down there. Now I'm going to take Bravo and I'm going to right click. I can copy its IP address or I can copy the device name. I like to copy the device name because IP addresses change. Once I do that, I do a debug to the remote machine. And this debug is going to take a second because if there's on framework and stuff that's not on the device, it has to actually send it to the device. There's a couple other changes that need to be made. The deployment itself takes a little while longer. So when I'm working with a team who's working on IoT apps, we do all our debug test workflow on our local machines. We're only deploying the device when we really need to test for real world hardware. When we're doing integration tests or anything like that. Well, I say integration tests, but it's human integration tests, right? So it's deploying. We can do some stuff while we're waiting. Now I'm going to go back to my IoT dashboard right here. I'm going to right click and there's an option to open the device portal. It's actually going to open up a browser URL and this URL is going to allow us to actually manage this IoT device. Now I memorized my password. Don't tell anybody, but when I got to the hotel for Ignite, I couldn't remember my password for any of the devices. And it took me like 2 days and I was terrified. I was going to come in front of you and be very embarrassed. But then I realized I had SD card adapters. I could have just wiped all the devices. So no worries. All right, so this is my Raspberry Pi 2. You can see that I have time zone, display resolution. I set it to 1080p out of the box. That way I don't have to worry about playing with the display resolution and plugging in the device. I just said 1080p. I figure every presenter device knows how to show 1080p. Now, I can go in here and see what apps are on my device. So it's going to spin up and show me all the apps on my device. I see that the IoT Core default app, that's the app that gives you the IP address and all that nice little diagnostic information about your device. Not only is that running, that's the startup application. Now you see that I installed my app 2. That just, let's see, let me make sure that's the right name. Yep, app 2. Whew, my foot is not in my mouth. Installed my app 2, and eventually app 2 is going to be running. Now, the IoT Core default app is still a startup app, but let's say I'm building a device. Maybe I want to put it behind this monitor, and it's going to be in my office building, and every time we turn the monitor on, maybe I'm powering USB from the monitor, I want it to go straight to my app. I can actually make app 2 my startup app right here. So I don't even have to worry about what's doing when it's boot. See, right now, Visual Studio has finished the deployment. It's taking a second to hook up the debugger. And if I switch to number 5, hello world. So my device is actually running the hello world application. But things get more interesting when we start to take advantage of the power of UWP. Because UWP has really great libraries for things that used to be really difficult to do. And I'm saying this as a huge XAML fan. It was very difficult to do things like media capture, notifications, and WPF and Windows Forms. That was difficult. UWP makes a lot of this stuff simple. So it has a lot of these built-in libraries. And I'm going to show you a really cool application. So I'm going to stop debugging this. So hit stop on the debugger. We're going to go back to the IoT Core default app. I'm going to switch to my laptop. Hopefully I don't break anything this time. And I'm going to open up a different app in Visual Studio. Now this app is called my Speak app. Now the Speak app is pretty cool because it does a couple things. I'm going to walk you through this first. So, and I know I didn't use Prism. I didn't bring in my view models and everything like that. So please don't tweet about this. Don't tell anybody I put stuff in the code behind, okay? Promise? Everybody promise? All right. Awesome. All right, so on startup, it uses the Element sound player. You ever notice when you play stuff like with the Xbox, it makes a like weird sound like that? That's called an Element sound. They have an Element sound player built in. So we get that nice little Element sound. The initialized low lag media recording. I capture to a WAV file. I start the recording asynchronously. Play that Element sound. Then I play the Element sound again, it means be quiet. Then I stop the recording. Finalize my recording, because you can start and stop as much as you want until you call finish async. Then I use the playback media element. Since I know it's a WAV file, I can just open the same file again, play it back, and that's it. So it's really just record, playback, nothing complex. And remember I told you earlier that I test all my apps on my local machine. So we're gonna get lucky today. We're gonna test this on my local device. So I'm really nervous, because people are going to judge me on this. All right. If I go check my audio devices, recording devices, I believe, yeah, my microphone right here is my default recording device. There we go. I'm recording some stuff at Ignite. Okay, so it works. Nothing too fancy, but this is me just using UWP libraries. I went to MSDN, I looked it up. This is how simple the libraries are. I didn't know these libraries existed before last Friday. So you was able to just go Google UWP, record audio, boom, first Stack Overflow link, went to MSDN article to figure out how to do the low lag version. That was it, super simple stuff. And now I want to do this on my Raspberry Pi. So I could deploy it just fine, but you're saying, well, Cindy, how are you going to tell what device is and all this other stuff? That's one of the beauties of Windows 10 IoT. Windows 10 IoT allows me to actually go in and use regular devices with this Raspberry Pi board. So I have a blue Snowball microphone. You can get this from Best Buy for like 50 bucks. Jumbled cables. All right, let's plug this in. Gonna plug it in right here. Whoop. Plug it into the back of my Raspberry Pi device. I now have a microphone. And I did an Azure focus group around the corner. They gave me this yesterday, and it's louder than the device I had that I was gonna demo. So this wins today. So we're gonna plug this in. Plug it in back here, just to give this speaker power. Plug the audio part of the speaker into the 3.5 millimeter port on my Raspberry Pi. And if nothing goes wrong, this should be the perfect demo, right? So we're gonna deploy to a remote machine. And while we're deploying, I'm gonna show you something else, because this takes a second, so I wanna show you something really interesting. When I'm on the road and I'm debugging or demoing this, maybe I'm showing this off to people, if I don't have my desktop with me, one of the quickest ways for me to test this out is using the same hardware you see people who do Twitch streaming, YouTube streaming use. So anybody ever heard of Elgato? They make the Capture Pros that people use on Twitch and stuff. They just came out with this last month. It's literally designed for GoPros and webcams. As long as it has HDMI output, this can capture it. So I'm gonna plug in HDMI cable here. Plug this into my USB hub. I'm gonna unplug it from the monitor there and plug it right here. Hopefully I'm fast enough. I'm gonna open the Elgato capture software. Uh-oh, the Elgato capture software is taking a second to load. All right. I'm gonna restart the app because I was too slow. It's app 1. All right, it's starting to deploy. Fingers crossed that this is loud enough. Yesterday, it was not loud enough, and nobody could hear it. So I cranked the volume, did everything I could to make this really work, and I'm super nervous it's not gonna work, but that's okay. Go back to my device settings, make sure all the audio settings are up. All right, deploy succeeded. This is my test recording. Oh wow, that wasn't nearly loud enough. So the thing is, the device was able to capture recording off the microphone. Unfortunately, the speaker, because of the ambient sound, you could barely hear it. I heard a mumble out of it. So this is the type of thing you can play around in a hotel room. As a matter of fact, I'll give you something interesting. Anybody here have a Raspberry Pi? Raise your hands. Anybody have a Raspberry Pi on them this week? You have one on you this week? I was gonna give this to whoever had a Raspberry Pi on them this week. All right, so it's always one demo to mess you up, right? So let's put a little bow on things. Only because my speaker thing is lighting up. I don't know if that's yellow. It's supposed to be orange, but the blink light actually can't render orange. So this is its closest approximation to orange. I got to get the Blink Light Pro, which is another $40. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to imagine orange right here. But the point of all of this is to show you that these are just regular USB devices plugging in. They work just fine. If I didn't have a USB microphone plugged in, the app would have just crashed. The great thing about this is I'm just using regular UWP code, regular UWP libraries. Let's say you want to go out and you want to experiment with a new feature. Let's say you want to add application insights to your IoT project. If this is a regular IoT board, this will cause research and a lot of effort. If this is Windows 10 IoT, you just look up how to add application insights to a Windows 10 project. You just follow the same steps. So you use your existing codes, deploy them to the devices, test on your local machine, and play around. I mean, this is a low barrier entry. We're talking a $30 or $40 board. If you break it, if your boss won't replace this, I don't think I get into IoT, right? But the big thing about this is just a real easy, low barrier way to get into developing some really cool stuff. And then to wrap things up, I want to tell you about one of my favorite apps I built that's actually ran on this hardware. And it's not running now because it's with me. So this LCD screen at home sits in the wall. I have a wall cavity cut out. And I used a 3D printer that actually made a case for this. And then my Raspberry Pi board sits behind it. Ooh, red, I better hurry up. My Raspberry Pi board sits behind it. I use the Microsoft Graph API to connect to my Office 365 and connect to Outlook and my appointments and calendar. Then I can determine when my next upcoming meetings are. If it's green, that means I work from home. My son can come in the room. If it's yellow, it means crack the door open. I might be getting ready to jump in a meeting, or I might just have jumped out of a meeting. If it's red, don't touch my door, don't knock on my door, I still love you. But you got a meeting. Dad's got a meeting. He'll get to you as soon as he can. So now my son could just like a conference, we could just walk up to the door and be able to tell where I'm at. And it wasn't even the device that's cool. It was the process of building it, learning the Graph API, using tools I'm already familiar with, the low barrier entry. The most expensive part was this. And this was about 60 bucks. It's an LCD screen. And now they're starting to get better and better. Anybody here ever heard of Adafruit? All right, yeah, so they make lots of really good components, and of course they can make stuff you can solder, but remember I told you I don't know how to solder. I have a scar from the last time I tried to solder. So I found an LCD screen that takes HDMI input, USB output, and here's the best part. This USB output isn't just for power. When you touch it, it emulates a mouse. So some of you probably remember from the beginner presentation when they said tap to start. When I tapped it, it emulated a mouse click. I made a button that fills the whole screen. You click, all of a sudden I have a touch screen controller. So real simple stuff, nothing really too complicated, real easy. I say this is the most accessible way to get into making devices, whether it's for hobby, whether it's for work. People say, well, you know, for work stuff, we might do something super serious. Well, this is super serious. I could build some really complex applications on here really fast. I could use my whole dev team. My whole dev team knows MVVM, they know C#, they know XAML because we invested in it over the last couple years. So if I can bring anybody on board the project. If we want to build a sensor to collect temperature data and want to put it in a warehouse, I can pick up any dev on my team, bring them in, and use them on this project. So go off, make some really cool apps, have a lot of fun. My contact information, I'm going to switch to my laptop one last time. My contact information will be posted with the slides online. But just in case you're curious, more information, developer.microsoft.com. They have a category, technologies, Internet of Things. A couple people take pictures, I'll wait. All right, you good? All right. And that's my contact information. Tweet me, email me. You build something cool, let me know. I will tweet it out, retweet, give you all the credit you deserve because these are really cool devices and your ideas are amazing ideas. So go off and impress everybody. Thank y'all so much.